Hey all, thanks for joining me for another scenic run. Today is February 19th, 2021, and today's run is coming to you from Northern California, specifically Kelseyville at the Highland Springs Reservoir. You may not have ever heard of Kelseyville, and I wouldn't fault you for that because it's a very small rural community up by Clear Lake. I'll talk about it a little later today, but it's going to be a 5-mile run around the reservoir. Not done it before, so it'll be just as interesting for me as it is for you. All right, thanks for joining me. Let's get those feet moving. I think up there is a old rope swing. Not sure if it's still there, but it looks like there's high water, so you can't really get there right now. Hold on. I think we go here. So this is the Highland Springs recreation area, and we're coming up on the disc golf course. I'm a fan of disc golf. I like it. Not very good at it. Don't get to play it too much. I sure wish I brought my discs. This way. How's it going, guys? Gotta keep an eye out for flying discs. Might get my head taken off. Never played up here. Maybe next time I'm up here, I'll try to get around it. So Kelseyville is in Lake County. This is not the lake. Like I said earlier, this is the reservoir. The lake in Lake County is Clear Lake. I believe it's the third largest natural lake in California, falling short of Lake Tahoe, and I don't know, maybe Lake Shasta. I'm not sure what the other one is. It's supposed to be some of the, if not the cleanest air quality in the US. Very small rural community. A lot of people only know it for the lake, you know, or between the 101 and I-5. We're about 2 hours northeast of San Francisco. I don't know, maybe like an hour and a half from Sacramento, northwest of that. My wife and I went to high school here in Kelseyville. All her family live around the lake, or at least they used to. Some have moved away. Smattering of little towns and communities that surround the lake. Kelseyville used to be known as the pear capital of the world, but you know, once Sonoma wines really took off, I think all the pear orchards kind of went the way of vineyards and started producing grapes. But Lake County doesn't have the acclaim as Sonoma or Napa County wines do. It's a neat community to be from, but it's so rural that there's not a ton of opportunity after high school. But it's a fun place to come back to a couple times a year. We've still got a drive-in movie theater. Haven't been to one of those since high school. Not sure if I mentioned the name of the lake, but it's Clear Lake. Back until like the late 2000s, we had a pretty nice resort on the lake called Canocti. Canocti Harbor Resort and Spa, named after the mountain here, Mount Canocti. It was great. They would get like a lot of the casino circuit musicians and acts to come through here, so you get a lot of 80s bands that don't like really headline tours or sell out mega huge event spaces. I know my dad got a kick out of going to see those because they were like a 10-minute drive from the house. I think I got to see Jethro Tull, Creedence Clearwater Revisited was, I think, the name they were going by at that point. So a lot of rolling green hills in this area, kind of like a lot of Northern California. So not quite far north to where we get redwoods. Mostly get big old oak trees up here. Check the map. Aside from vineyards, another big producer for this area are walnuts. A lot of walnut orchards. I still think there's some pear orchards, but again, not too many. We're not going over there. It's kind of neat. A lot of my friends from high school, my wife included, they were the K through 12 kids that have spent their whole lives in Lake County or Kelseyville, and a lot of their family, their parents and their parents' parents went to school here, grew up here. Still know a lot of people here. Don't get to see them so much when I come to visit. One of the things I wish I took more advantage of when I lived here when I was younger, when I was a young lad, was the outdoors. A lot of my friends are hunters. Never really got to partake in that, Prior to living here, I grew up in more suburban areas, so that wasn't something I was exposed to before. But kind of wish I did. my wife's family, they're big into hunting, and I've gone and hunted for turkey, but never saw any. Gone shooting, clay pigeons and stuff like that, but never gone through that tradition or activity of actually bagging a kill. Would like to experience it sometime. But yeah, so when my boys and I would come up here, we just go hang out at the rope swing and jump into the reservoir, things like that. But never really took advantage of the serene beauty that surrounds this area. And usually when I'm up here, it's either for Thanksgiving or Christmas. And it doesn't really snow too much here, but conditions still aren't great. And I never really want to take that up. But yeah, shooting these videos kind of gives me some motivation to do that. Looks like this is also an equestrian trail because I've seen some horseshoe marks. There's another trail I'm considering doing tomorrow, but it might be, I don't know, too much. I never tried the hike before, but it's a hike from essentially the middle school to one of the high peaks, right peak I think it's called, where there's a big overlook and radio towers. It's also close to where the K is on the mountain for Kelseyville or Kanata. Again, something I probably should have done when I was in high school, but just, I don't know, wasn't on my mind too much. Just wanted to go have fun with my friends. And I guess in that respect, my friends here are more into, four-wheeling, skateboarding, other, things that teenagers are into. Not necessarily hiking. An unfortunate reason why Lake County is known is almost on an annual basis during the summer. Some part of this county is on fire. They got a lot of wildfires up here. And it always seems like, another 50,000 acres of Lake County is burned before the fire's been controlled or contained. One place I'm considering doing a run is Cobb Mountain, but you know, that whole community a couple years ago. Hold on. Yeah, go down this way. This way. That whole community went up in flames. A lot of houses were burned. I haven't been up there since, but would like to see it at some point. I sort of think, like, you know, at some point the fires have to stop. There's nothing left in Lake County to burn. So we were directly across the way where we started. A lot of the people I know that still live here, you know, they're used to getting evacuation orders, you know? But you know, some don't want to leave their properties because if they do, other people will take advantage of the situation and go and loot houses. It's really unfortunate in a lot of counts. You know, face losing your house, possibly your lives if you stay, or if you leave, your house getting burglarized. And that's one of those things where, you know, a lot of these communities are built, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, where there's just a lot of land. But now you look at it and it's just too hard to contain. Insurance companies make it really hard for people to maintain their insurance policy. If there's a lot of trees on their land, they'll have to mitigate by cutting them down. If they don't, then they'll get dropped. And regardless, I think their policies just keep going up. So a few of the holidays today. It's National Chocolate Mint Day. So if you're a lover of chocolate mint, whether milk chocolate or dark chocolate, try and get some. Or get some mint chocolate ice cream. It's also National Caregivers Day. National Tartar Sauce Day. Can't say I'm a real fan of that. Tug of War Day. What? Well, what do we got here? Old bridge. Not quite stable. Ooh. back when I was here in high school towards the early 2000s, Kelseyville, their mascot, we were the Kelseyville Indians. And so, kind of like a lot of the Native American named schools that got under scrutiny. And a couple of years after I graduated, we turned into the Kelseyville Knights. I don't know if there's any history behind that, or if they just like the name. But, you know, there's a lot of controversy behind it. And even the name Kelseyville is pretty astonishing, where I'm not too certain of what stature the Kelsey person held, but they essentially owned a lot of Indians as slaves, made them work their land, and I think they took some of the tribal chiefs' women and had their way with them, things like that. And then at one point, Indians struck back, I think killed Kelsey. There were ties to the US government, and then the military came in and I think cleared out a lot of the natives. And so it's got a really negative connection to that name. And so there's been, you know, some discussions, I don't know how far it's gone or if it's even up for debate anymore, about changing the name of the town altogether. You know, and I know a lot of the people that have generations that grew up here are sternly against it. Me being, you know, an outsider where I only spent 3 years of high school here, could see the logic behind changing the name. But, you know, I could see both sides. I think the same thing goes with another Northern California town called Fort Bragg on the coast. I don't quite know the story behind it, but similar details. Not gonna go up that way. Whew, okay, let's see if we can. I think I'm gonna get wet. All right, let's find this trail. Somehow came out of there dry. Looking for a trail marker. All right, back on it. I think this is, you know, not the biggest climb in elevation, but this is the steepest part of the run. So if you want to mimic it, crank up the incline. Lower the incline now. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. Uphill again. Another big thing my friends are into that we do on the weekends was paintballing, which is a lot of fun up here because you just have a lot of wooded areas like this, so you can just go out at somebody's backyard with, like, you know, 10 friends, divide up into teams of 5 and just shoot the heck out of each other. You know, I've played at some courses where they had like speedball or spools, cable spools that you hide behind, but this is way more fun using the natural terrain. Yeah. There's a lot of twists and turns up here. You have many different options to choose from as far as routes go. So I'm trying to stick to the route I mapped out earlier today. Switching up my map tool for this one. Hold on. Nope. Okay. Get ready for another big climb. This one looks pretty aggressive, so crank it up high. I need some more meaty shoes. Oh. Whew. Almost bit it. All right. Woo! Catch my breath. Level out that incline. Man, that one took it out of me. Just keep pushing. A little higher in elevation than San Diego. I think we're at about 1,500 up to 1,700, somewhere around there for this run. So not something that you really need to adjust too much to. But it does probably play a little bit of a factor. You know, and I'm not sure the topic I was on before I went up the hill. So, lost my train of thought. But yeah, the one I'm doing, or thinking of doing tomorrow, again, going up to Wright's Peak. I think it's an out and back. I think it's more of a service road type trail, not something like this. But it's just uphill for like 4.5, 5 miles. I think it gets up to, I don't know, mid 4,000s in elevation. Hopefully I'll get around to it, but I don't know. We'll see. I think it's supposed to have great views of the county and the lake. So we'll go left. shocked I haven't come across any wildlife. Seen one squirrel, but no deer. Saw some on my dog walk today. Up in the Riviera West area. To give you an idea of the population and how rural this is, you know, I think Kelseyville clocks in around 5,000 or 6,000 people. Ninth through 12th grade, I don't know, like maybe 800 people. I think I only had like under 200 in my graduating class. You're more likely to hit a deer with your car than get in a car accident. And I say that because that actually happened to me. So I have taken an animal's life, but not by hunting. Head into my friend's house after you're doing like, I don't know, I think a fast food run. It's at night, going through some S curves in my sweet 87 Volvo 740 GLE wagon, and hit a little doe, little baby deer. Hit the brakes, you know, but still probably hit around like 30 or 40 miles an hour. The thing went flying. I was driving a Volvo, like I said, so those things are built for safety. It's like a tank. Just broke one of my headlights in the plastic grill. Unfortunately, I didn't kill the deer, so drove like another half mile down the road to my friend's house, told them what happened. They went, their parents, gun safe, got their rifle. We drove over there, shot it, put it out of its misery, and then drug it over to the side of the road. It's one memory that will always stay with me, for sure. This would probably be a great trail to go biking on. This is the puppy dog trail. We're gonna take this one down. I could see what, okay, that's what I was talking about before I hit that major incline. Was I changed up my mapping tool. Because these trails aren't too obvious, like right now. They're more like animal trails. Some are waterway trails. So not something I could really find on Map My Run or Strava, but I was able to use. Okay, I'm off a bit. All trails for this one. So I'll post a link to this trail in the description. If you find yourself in the area. Ooh. All right. Yeah, first time using all trails. It's working out pretty well. Still water pond, but that's a breeding ground. Oops. Breeding ground for mosquitoes during the summer. Alright, so we should be getting views of Highland Springs again pretty soon. We're getting close to the end of this run. All right, so this is it. 5.75 miles. Get Highland Springs reservoir recreation area. I just did a loop around, an extended loop around the reservoir. You could have shortened it to about 3.5 miles. Took about 52 minutes. Thank you for joining me. Coming to you from Kelseyville in Lake County, California, February 19th, 2021. Till next time, keep running.